Oh no.
Missing.
Greg?
Missing.
I thought this was a duet.
Missing.
Oh, so you're just gonna sing all the parts? Those are not the right sounds.
Missing.
Can you hear me?
Missing. Oh, missing.
Bonk.
Welcome to Miss Thing. I'm Greg.
And I'm Tim. And this is a podcast that celebrates and appreciates the Miss Things of the past, present, and future.
Yeah, in every episode, we take a key moment from our Miss Thing storied career and do what you and I actually have our doctorate in, which is making it all about us.
And Greg said something cuckoo right before we started filming. Which
I did say something Hunter Schafer is cuckoo.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it is that you have seen Rascal Flatts in concert, which isn't necessarily cuckoo, but in my opinion, knowing you, that is one of the most shocking things I've ever heard, that you of all people have seen Rascal Flatts.
Yeah, listen, I did in college. You know, I was still doing a little bit of my straight, trying to appease. Yeah, I was finding myself. I was trying to appease the straight people in my lives. In my lives, in my many lives. And yeah, one of my best friends loved Rascal Flatts. I got into them. I loved the song, What Hurts the Most is Being So Close.
Are they still around? Do they still practice?
They are. Do they still practice? Yeah, they
are
practice
you still practicing?
in their dad's garage.
Yeah.
They were really great. I went to the PNC Bank Arts Center. I famously went with one of my best friends at the time, who will remain nameless, to protect their identity, because at one point she got so drunk. We were doing, what is that thing where you go into
You actually have told me. Maybe you've told this on the pod. I don't know. You've told this to me.
It would be a missing episode, a forgotten episode.
I forgot. Oh, okay.
But she got so drunk that she started throwing up in a trash can in front of a security guard, and I was also wasted, and the security guard tapped her on the shoulder, and I was like,
Are you saying that that the hardest you've ever gone is for Rascal Flatts?
well, I mean, who else would I go hard for if not Rascal Flatts at the PNC Bank Arts Center in New Jersey? Shout out.
God bless the broken road.
Then let me say to you, and of course, life is a
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah.
That's for the Cars soundtrack.
It was. It was. I think it was Cars 2.
Wow. I've never seen any of the Cars, and I never plan to.
Yeah, I saw about half of the first one, and I stopped.
Yeah.
I will say, though, one of the most fun rides at Disneyland.
Oh, really?
I think it's in there's 2 parks at Disneyland. Is it California Adventure? I think it's in the other one. Okay. Long wait.
Yeah.
But really
People have said this to me in the past, because it's one of those things where I feel like I'm very, I'm not going to go on that ride because I don't care about cars.
Sure.
And people come back strong with, no, you should.
No, I implore you to go on that ride. As a non-Cars fan at all.
I don't even like the Cars.
No,
in general,
no, they
concept.
have. No, I don't. Yeah, right. I don't like getting behind the wheel of one. Quite frankly.
Yeah. So to me, it's why would I put myself through that? But you know what? I'll trust the people, and then I'll go from there. Okay. Well, I think it's time to plow right through that.
Sure. Gorgeous segue.
And get into our most famous segment.
And our first segment, Dodd Mom Sauce, a.k.a. Doll of the Day, Mother of the Moment, Sister of the Second. Our first segment, where we pick a person, place, or thing that we are currently super obsessed with.
Yes.
And I'm happy to go first.
Go.
Listen, so
Floor is yours.
Never thought I'd say this in my life, but my Dodd Mom sauce is the city of Las Vegas, Nevada. Well,
okay. You are out here with hot Rascal Flatts and Vegas.
Hot takes.
Okay, yeah.
I have gone full country.
Yeah.
Well, I need to survive in modern America.
I wouldn't necessarily describe Vegas as country, but
I would.
Actually, you're right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
and not just Las Vegas, more specifically the Sphere. Yeah. So I had the pleasure of going to the Sphere recently to see Anima. So it was the first electronic. Yeah, I went to the Sphere to get an enema, and
you wanted to see. They actually put it up on the Sphere.
Yeah, I was the talent that night, getting a full enema on the Sphere screen.
Honestly, like I feel like I've seen some of the acts at the Sphere, and I'm like, why are they getting this? And I would prefer to see you getting an enema.
Trust me, I think plenty of people would. But yeah, so I was there for Anima. Anima I've seen before.
Can you explain to the Jennifer? Of
course. So Anima's the first electronic producer who's in the Sphere, and he's part of a duo, but he's also like a producer in his own right that does a lot of like incredible visuals. And I think it's anyone who knows him and anyone who knows like what he does knows that the Sphere is like the perfect place for what he does. It's like
I know and love. I can't get enough of him.
Of course. Well, it's basically like a big video game, and like he does this whole like robot thing, and his concert's called Afterlife, but it's just like very visually like crazy and spectacular and big, and it's suited for the Sphere.
What my fear is going to the Sphere is that I would get nauseous.
No, it is certainly dizzying, and with Anima, those visuals in particular are so like extreme and over the top and giant and like quite overwhelming and sort of being played for like people who are in altered states, let's say, which I think would be too overwhelming, quite frankly.
I was actually under the impression that that's what that you were going to be in an altered state, and I was like, that feels like too much.
Well, I went on a Sunday, and you know me, I need my sleep.
and Sunday is the Lord's Day.
Sure,
so you got to be very,
not to be confused with Saturday, which is of course for the Saturdays, as my favorite video on the internet is.
I don't. I'm
don't worry about that. But you are so, when you see that video, you'll understand how it is. Okay. That being said, the show is so cool and like over the top and like really, really an overwhelming experience. Like truly one of the best things I've ever seen. Like from a technical standpoint, I was sort of like LOLing at how little he must have been doing up there. I mean, the show is choreographed to like the nth degree. Like he can't even pretend to be pressing buttons. Like there's no way he's doing that. But occasionally he would like turn to the audience and be like like put his hands on his knees like he was so exhausted. I was like, okay.
I want someone out there to tell me. And I know that being a DJ, and I know he's not but I'm saying like when anyone is in that sphere of like doing electronic music or being a DJ,
Las Vegas sphere.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like, and I don't understand the concept. Like they're in live, in the moment they are actually like transitioning from song to song. Is there a playlist? I want to take a class, not to do it because all love to DJs, but there's nothing I would want to do less, but I don't understand what they're doing. It just seems like they're like, putting their finger to their ear.
Well, I do think there's a certain level of DJ. I think once you get to a certain point, like it is sort of pre-recorded and it like goes with your visuals and everything. But I think when you're like on the way up or playing a specific room or something, you're actually spinning, and that's like the art. But I don't think that at a place like the Sphere where it all depends on like to the second and like the music goes with the visuals and everything, like I'm pretty sure you have to just like completely do that months in advance.
Do you know, this is me out here being ignorant, like the boiler room or the boiler?
Oh yes, and that's I think generally like where people are showing off their DJ skills.
Okay, I just saw like Rebecca Black. Shout out to her.
Yeah,
never forget.
Not gone
yet.
You're
talking about Saturdays. Talk about Fridays.
Yeah, that is so true. That is it's famously the day before February. Well, anyways, the Sphere, a technical marvel, incredible. There are so many things. I couldn't recommend it more, especially for the right act. And just so you know, Jennifer is at home who are interested. Kenny Chesney is coming up. So
I'm based off of your love of Rascal Flatts.
Yeah. I'll be there. Yeah. I'll be there. I'm willing to overpay.
If he brought out Renee Zellweger and proposed,
and
again,
she did the hot honey rag from Chicago. It would be worth everything.
Yeah.
Me opening as the getting an enema and Renee closing with a hot honey rag. I would join her on stage, obviously.
I am so interested. I want to know so much about Renee Zellweger's personal life. There's just so many questions there.
I wonder what her house looks like.
I feel like there's a lot of straw.
A lot of straw. I feel like it's really pink. But like not loud pink, like really muted, like flesh tone.
I'm being so all over the place in this episode.
I've noticed.
But did you ever see the Trading Spaces where Hilda like it's like a famous one where Hilda's the one who always would like ruin everyone's room.
Oh, and that black couple.
And she put like straw all over their walls.
No.
And she got they got so mad. They were like, why did you, how is this an upgrade to put straw on our walls?
Oh my God. I'm thinking of the hilarious black couple who like Paige shows them their downstairs like game room and they're just like, no, fuck no, fuck no. This is awful.
We have to do a missing for literally all of the Trading Spaces women.
All of them.
Yeah.
Paige Davis.
Yes. Wow.
We're on to you, girl. And we wish you well, and we hope you're doing great.
And I hope you still have that haircut.
I'm pretty sure you do.
Yeah.
And I'm not far behind.
Yeah.
Anyways, Tim, do you have a Dad Mom sauce?
I do. My Dad Mom sauce is, listen, people out here are wasting their money on eye masks. And I'm out here telling them that there's a better solution, which is what I have recently discovered is putting a t-shirt over your eyes.
Huh.
When the sun starts to come up.
Oh, okay.
This is what I want all the Jennifer Urshas to know out there.
When the sun starts coming
When
up.
the sun starts to come up. You know how people will wake up because of the sun coming into the windows?
The famous thing. It's sort of like clockwork. The sun comes up, your eyes are supposed to...
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. The rhythm of the day.
Exactly. And, for people like you who are already up at that point, you're
never
up
went
before
to
the
bed.
sun rises. I famously just am about to go to bed.
Oh, sure.
And
yeah,
so
I'm lying up in bed at that point. I'm in bed, but I'm lying fully eyes open, resting in my own way.
Yeah. And for me, I'm always so nervous that I'm I won't be asleep by the time the sunlight comes up.
Yeah.
And I just want this is something that Anthony introduced to me, which is you just, fold a t-shirt, put it over your eyes, place it over your eyes. It works like magic. I am obsessed with putting a t-shirt over your eyes. It's these are my reasons why you should get a t-shirt and put it over your eyes.
Uh-huh.
It's affordable. You don't have to buy anything. Everyone has a t-shirt.
Well.
Everyone has
those
a t-shirt.
amongst us who are lucky enough.
Lucky enough, exactly.
Yeah.
And it's hygienic because most people have multiple t-shirts. So you can switch them out every night with a new one.
Okay.
You don't have to... An eye mask restricts the... you can feel it. It can, give you a headache, a migraine. It's tight.
Yeah, it gives you a little bit of, a line where it's...
I don't want
goes
lines
around.
on my face.
No. You don't want to flap a curly flap in your hair.
I'm telling you, those are my reasons there. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't need more. And I'm just saying that it is life-changing. I have taken it... Anthony does it every so often. I'm now doing it every night. I'm addicted.
Wow. So you wear it through the night? Or
No. I wake it... It's I guess always the sun will start to come through my curtains and then I'll wake up temporarily and then I just put that and then it works. And then I get another few hours of sleep and it's amazing. It also gives the impression that you don't care about the world. If you walk in on someone, it is one of the most embarrassing things maybe to have a t-shirt. But I also kind of think it's a great thing to kind of give off to the world, which is just don't fucking bother me. There is a t-shirt on my face right now.
Totally. It's equal parts conversation starter and conversation preventer.
100%.
Because it's why is there something on a t-shirt on yours? But also, I guess maybe I shouldn't talk to you right now because something's obviously going on with you.
And is there anything more that you would want, which is that someone walks in and says, I guess I shouldn't actually talk to this person right now. You can't buy that.
No.
And you don't need to buy this.
Well, you can buy that in a 3-pack at Target from Hanes. Well, not Target, actually. No, they're anti-DEI, so go to Costco.
Yes.
You can get more bang for your buck at Costco, that's for sure.
I think our first sponsorship should be with t-shirts. Just t-shirts in general. Like, everyone needs a t-shirt.
Absolutely.
And everyone needs Miss Thing, the pod.
Of course, which you should go follow if you don't already on TikTok and Instagram at Miss Thing the pod.
And subscribe. Give us 5 stars and above.
Yeah, we're hitting you early in the show with that one, just in case you obviously will get to the end and listen to this multiple times. But yeah, we just want to make sure to get this to you before the end of the first act.
Yes.
And with that, I think it's time for a break.
Yeah.
We're back. It's time for our Miss Thing of the week.
Let's get right into it.
Yeah, this woman is the moment right now.
She's new on the scene, but
she's been around. She's really been making the rounds for a while.
She's new on the scene in the sense of like she's pierced through in the way that now I feel like in the past year people know her name, whereas before it's like if you were cool, you knew her.
Absolutely. Well, talk about piercing through. Every song that's not hers, she's featured on right now. She is literally on every song right now. On TikTok, everywhere. I don't listen to the radio. I imagine she's only there. Our Miss Thing of the week is Doechii.
Okay.
Grammy winner for Alligator Bites Never Heal. An incredible album.
It is hard. She made that album seem so seamless in a way that is so impressive, where it's like I feel, and I'm not the most well-versed in the genre of rap, but I'm like, I feel like it is so technically impressive in a way that is like for the people who love rap, but also for mainstream, for like new people. Like it's like crosses the bridge, if that makes sense.
Absolutely, it makes total sense. I've made this comparison a few times. I'm not to compare, but to me, it reminds me a lot sonically and like just vibe-wise of the Miseducation of Lauryn Hill.
I was so excited. I thought you were going to say Nicki. She reminds me of Nicki, not to compare.
Well, the theatricality. Yeah, yes. No, the album itself, it has elements of Miseducation. I think it's like no skips. It really feels very cohesive. And what I love about it, I don't know if you've heard this, but I watched this video where she talks about how she wrote it in 30 days.
Whoa, the whole album?
She gave herself, like a time limit. And maybe it wasn't her talking about this, and maybe it was just a random person I saw on TikTok. But that being said, she's all over
their
TikTok.
TikTok video in 30 days.
Right. No, but apparently she gave herself that like limit.
Yeah.
And so she's like, I'm just creatively, like whatever comes out, it's coming out, and it's like got to be done then, which I think is so necessary as an artist, just to like get something done. But I think it really helped because it like doesn't allow her to like meander, and that's what that album feels so just like tight and of the moment. Have you heard of Gus Haggerty on Instagram and maybe TikTok? He's so funny. Shout out to him. He just broke his femur randomly, which is like the hardest bone in your body to break. But I've been a fan of his for so long, and he does these amazing impressions. They're mostly of like random
guy?
white people. No. But he does like impressions of like the gay waiter and like or like the fun moment of a yoga class. Like I love his videos, and he did this amazing like viral video where he plays the people at NPR listening to Doechii, and they're like, oh. It's just
you have to send it.
I will send it and we'll post it. It is the funniest video on the internet. And also get well soon, Gus. I'm like really, really following your journey.
Okay, this is so random and we can cut this, but the brand, and what's his last name?
I think it's Haggerty.
Okay, so I was just walking by on Larchmont, the store Faherty. How do you pronounce it? Faherty? No, there's a brand, and it's a high-end brand. Faherty.
F-A-H-E-R what? I'm getting so lost in the sauce.
F-A-H-E-R-T-Y. How would you pronounce that?
Faggotry?
It's like Faherty.
Faherty.
It's impossible, and I don't know how this brand is successful. And it makes me think
I've never heard of them.
Every time, it's only in like nice streets, like next to like other nice stores that are expensive.
Okay.
And I'm like, every time I see it, I'm like, it just makes me think of like, ooh, it makes me want to Faherty. And I have to say it in that accent. And I'm like, how do you pronounce it? So Faherty? Faherty. Tell us how you're pronounced.
Yeah, and also sponsor us.
Yes.
Yeah, because we will learn how to pronounce your name, or we'll do a fun little bit about, like, how do you pronounce it?
Yeah. But back to Doechii.
I
mean, Denial is a River. That
incredible
performance, by the way, at the Grammys,
and on Colbert and everything.
But I was gonna say, there was no one who performed better at the Grammys this year than Doechii.
Also, I completely agree. Also, a queer icon. She played at LA Pride last year. Yeah. She's been making the Pride rounds. She's always performing at Prides, which is like, I mean, good girl. Yeah. Like, be smart. Get the gays on your side. We love you. Your talent is
And she's a
impeccable.
YouTube queen. Yeah. She was out into all of her stuff from 2020 when she was just like posting. She did what's the famous thing? The Artist Way. She did the Artist Way on YouTube. I'm like, this girl is of the people, just like us.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And of course, she is most famous in my mind for her incredible Drag Race guest judge.
Yes.
Her stint as a guest judge and that lip sync was the best of the season. It's I mean, she saved the premiere from Katy Perry. She wrestled it from Katy Perry's hands.
She's also the best part of Katy Perry's album because she features on one of her songs, and it's the only, memorable part.
Exactly. She's the one person out here. Katy Perry should be thanking Doechii for making this moment not a complete bomb for her.
And also her song Anxiety is so good, and that's coming around.
So good.
Yeah. Anyways.
Every song.
She makes every song better.
Well, she's on every song. She's the Heather Locklear of songs.
Yes.
Song saver.
This is your exactly. This is your new. You're gonna compare everyone to Heather Locklear.
Everyone good who comes in and saves the day is the Heather Locklear of whatever thing they're working
Heather. Like, we'll never do her as a Miss thing, but we'll always reference her. Yeah.
Well, and we won't do her until she comes on the show and saves the show.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I think we're gonna scoot right by that.
Of course.
How do you make Doechii all about yourself?
Well, listen, I mean, you brought it up. Denial is a River is just the song. I mean, listening to Alligator Bites Never Heal, it's a great album start to finish, but there is, that song comes on and it's like everything sort of stops and changes. I remember the first time I heard it, I was on a walk listening to the album and just was like, it stopped me in my tracks. But of course, it's a famous, therapy song. And that, of course, reminds me of the time that I was looking for a therapist during COVID.
No, the worst.
Looking for a therapist at any time is the worst thing a person can do. Everyone needs to be in therapy, but the act of finding a therapist is nearly impossible. It's like dating.
But like
even more expensive.
Stakes.
Highest stakes. It's dating at like $200 a pop with no dinner.
Yeah.
So I was looking during COVID would say I was in a bit of a mentally low spot.
Yeah.
Just sort of being indoors all day.
Yeah.
And I was looking, and there were not many people available. As you can probably remember.
Were booked and blessed in 2020.
Exactly. Yeah. They were like the Doechiis of 2020.
Yeah.
But I also have a few like very specific criteria generally, or I did,
hot.
Yeah, of course. Into me. No, but like I like to, I was really thinking I wanted like a gay man because just it's a little bit of like shared lived experience. It's helpful to, when you're when you're digging through the past, it's helpful to have someone who sort of can relate to what you're talking about.
I have always had gay men, and then I recently have switched to a lesbian, and I've been enjoying that experience.
Interesting. Yes. Well, I think that's more you. That's more your vibe.
I'm out here on the... I want everyone to know, I want more lesbian friends. I am constantly trying to make lesbian friends.
I agree. Lesbians, hit us up.
Hit us up. Okay, but back to
I need your advice on shoes.
I need your advice in everything.
Everything, but specifically shoes for my co-host.
Please. Okay, so back to...
Yeah, so, but at that time, obviously, everyone was, getting into therapy, and therapists were completely overbooked. So beggars can't be choosers. I was able to find a few people who were able to meet and sort of like in my price range. And I actually met this very, very lovely man, straight man, which sort of goes against everything that I hold true in my heart. But, I really liked him. Of course. Yeah. But I actually really liked him. Curly hair, soft-spoken demeanor.
Just like you.
The wounds of the father, they never heal. Much like alligator bites.
Yes.
They never heal. No, but he reminded me so much of my father, honestly. So I was like, okay, let's see what we do here. And I was really liking him. And what I really liked about him, too, was that it was like a very sort of non-traditional like schedule, too. Like I was working at the time. We were both like kind of busy. So he would send me his schedule and like his availabilities at the beginning of the week. And I'm like, okay, great. And like, we'll find a time that works for both of us. And we were really starting to get into the groove. I was meeting with him. I met with him for like 2 months. I was finally getting to the point where I stopped trying to impress him like every single waking moment of my session, and was like starting to talk about like things that mattered maybe a little bit. And it is, and
I love the idea that you're trying to impress your therapist.
Oh, there's no one in the world that I would rather impress more. I need my therapist to love me. God forbid they think I have issues.
That is hysterical.
No. There is no one that I will bend over backwards more to impress than a therapist.
You're like putting your awards like behind in your background of your Zoom screen.
Absolutely. And I'm like, how does that make you feel? I'm so like trying to turn the tables.
Dressed to impress.
Oh yeah. 2 months in, he starts getting a little slower with the schedule. And, at this point, he has said a few things that make me question, I am in a deep depression at this moment. There's a lot happening in the world. And I, at one point I asked, like, maybe what about antidepressants or SSRIs? And he was like, oh, I don't think you need those. If anything, you need Ritalin. And I was like... And Ritalin hit my ear in such a way that I was like, wow, that's so random. That's so like third grade.
Yeah.
That's so like problem child third grade, that it felt so doctorial that I was like, okay,
Was he also a psychiatrist where he could prescribe?
No, but he was like, we were talking about, potential options. But I did think that was interesting. he just said a few things that I was like, but then we started getting to like 2 months in, and the text, like the weekly text started like getting off a little bit. And then 1 week, I felt like his energy had changed, as I started talking more about myself. I felt his energy had changed. And 1 week he sent the thing, and I responded with a time that works for me, and he never responded in text.
No.
We get to the following week. I had never heard from him. The session had passed. We get to the following week. I didn't receive like the weekly schedule. I text him. I say, hey, so are you going to send me times like to meet this week? Never heard from this man again. My therapist ghosted me.
This number is no longer in service.
Men cannot be trusted.
Well, straights cannot be trusted for sure.
Straight men absolutely cannot be trusted. I was like, oh, excuse me. Like, oh, what are my problems not bad enough for you? Like, is my money not good enough for you? Am I not pretty enough for you?
Oh, that alone is like, I'm sure you've been in therapy ever since unpacking that moment.
Of course. Yeah. It's like, the father abandonment issues. Of course, my father died, so he has an excuse.
Yeah.
Not this guy.
That is Oh my God. I can't get over that. Do you think did you not go on, did you not take his advice and go on Ritalin?
No, but I'd be willing to give that one a go.
That would take me out because I would be like, for the whole rest of the session, I would just be tossing and turning in my head about like, okay, what am I giving? Am I just all kind of like how I am on this current episode?
Oh,
where
of course.
It's like all over the place.
Yeah, well,
like,
you could.
Yeah, I could be. Yeah.
Well, here I am, because I know best, and I think you could be on Ritalin.
Oh, no, so this is your way of saying you're about to ghost me.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Well, on that note,
yeah.
Tim, how do you make Doechii all about you?
I make Doechii about me in a way that the lyric also from Denial's a River, we're both on the same page there. Uh-huh. But I always think of when she goes, my ex destroyed all I own. And that makes me think of, here I go. One time I was with an ex, and it was New Year's Day. New Year's Eve had happened. I stayed at
famously.
I had.
It's like Dad Mom Sauce has already happened at this point in the podcast.
Not many people know that New Year's Day happens after New Year's Eve.
It's first time hearing that.
But so it was New Year's Day, and I had stayed over at my ex's place the night before. I didn't go to my apartment until New Year's Day night. You needed the full day to recover. I'm driving home to my apartment.
You could almost call it New Year's night instead of New Year's Day night, but I'm not here to nickel and dime, especially not.
I'm starting to see why your therapist ghosted you.
Right. Especially not in the new year. Like, exactly. I mean, your resolutions are your own.
That is the name. You know what I mean? It's like St. Patrick's Day night. St. Patrick's night.
Yeah, it is actually. It feels dark.
Yeah. Anyway, so I'm driving home to my apartment complex. Like the way that this worked, you would like go and you would park behind the apartment building and then like underneath like the apartment itself.
Sure.
And I get there and the lights are out. You're remembering this.
I know where you're, sorry. Where you're going with this.
Greg's face, you just had a full body reaction.
Oh my God, I'm so sorry. Keep going. Wait, I know where you're, okay. They don't know.
Everyone needs to watch on YouTube and go back to you realizing what's about to happen.
Oh my God.
Which is, I am driving into the back, and at first, I hated my landlord, Judy. She was basically a mafia woman.
Yeah.
Never responded to me, always had attitude when you would ask for the simplest thing done.
Yeah.
And I went back there and it was pitch black. And I was like, this is dangerous. I could hit someone. I could hit a car. I can't see anything. And so I turned on my brights and I was like, damn you, Judy. To then basically have the reaction that you just had. My mouth was on the floor, which is in the spot where my car normally is, but it was not there that night. Mm-hmm. Someone had taken like 2 Molotov cocktails, thrown them into the 2 cars on my left and right of my car parking space, and blown them up. The entire parking garage was singed and blown up and being held on by like a thread. Every car was destroyed except for mine because it wasn't there.
To think someone threw a Molotov cocktail in your spot.
In my spot. It was great. I was flabbergasted. So, of course, I run in to see if my roommate is okay. My roommate was fine. Uh-huh. And then I'm like, what the hell happened? Thankfully, and I had missed this whole thing because I was gone the whole day. Like the fire department had stopped it before it reached it had just affected the parking garage, but none of the other apartments.
Not to interrupt you, but it did feel like your entire apartment building too was being held up by like the one beam in that parking structure. So it's like the fact that your building was like structurally sound enough to be still standing. Truly is the shock.
The 8th wonder of the world. People should pilgrimage from other ends of the world to see how this apartment was still standing.
Right.
And so I ran...
an architectural marvel in West Hollywood.
Truly. Hey, AD.
It still hasn't been fixed, I'm sure.
There's no way. I run to my roommate and I'm like, make sure she's okay. And then I'm like, what happened? Like, is everyone okay? And she was like, it was crazy. Like, she's like clearly shaken. And like, And I'm also, side note, but I look back on now, I'm like, I can't believe she didn't text me sooner. But that was very this roommate anyway.
Right. Didn't think to let you know that there was an explosion in your parking spot.
Yes. And so I am like, okay, well, what are we going to do? Like, this is so scary. And she then is being like, well, you know that arson is a crime of passion.
Oh.
And and when people like set things on fire, it's usually like because like it's like a jilted lover, and they're not wanting to just like harm their partner, they're wanting to see them suffer, because you could just like take a gun or like do something quickly and like harm a partner and they're out. But apparently this is what my roommate's saying, like,
yes, seemingly she has quite the story.
I know. And so she's like, but arson, it's like you want to see them suffer, you want the slow. And so she is letting me like fully panic about like, like what's happening. So then I'm
just being so Shakespearean.
And I'm also, by the way, becoming full Carrie Matheson in Homeland. I'm taking out a like picture of all of my roommates or all of my neighbors in the apartment complex and being like, who has a jilted lover?
Yeah.
Because I was like, they didn't finish the job. They were wanting this whole apartment building to burn down and they didn't succeed. So they're going to come back.
Totally.
So I am simultaneously packing a bag and also, doing the yarn to all the different strings to be like, okay, these two people, I've seen them come in and out. They don't look happy.
Totally. Watch duty was invented that night.
Yes. And I'm like, these two don't look happy. Okay, these two, I've never seen them laugh before.
Right.
I'm like, this one, I've never seen them come in and out at the same time. They don't really see each other that much. It's probably them.
Yes.
I'm freaking out. And then she's also like kind of freaking herself out. And she's like, we got to get out of here. Like, we can't come back here. And I'm like, you're right. Like, this is an unsafe building.
Yeah.
We have to move out tonight.
Although she is so feeling like the suspect, the main suspect in the way you're telling it.
And she also did at the time also have a partner. Both of us at that time, like, we were good in our relationships too. So it was just like, okay, it's calling from outside the house.
Totally. Yeah, well, people hate to see a girl boss winning, like you.
Yes.
Two girl bosses in that West Hollywood complex.
Yeah, people always want to set fire to the rain.
Yeah, of course.
And so we're frantically at the same time like trying to figure out who has done it, and then also we come to the pact of like, okay, well, this is our last night living together as roommates. Like we can't come back here. It is not safe. Like someone is gonna come back. Like they didn't catch the person.
Yeah.
So they're gonna come back.
Uh-huh.
We don't know who it is. So we pack a bag and we're literally like, I'm never gonna step foot in this apartment ever again.
Sure.
And I didn't until the next night.
New Year's Day, the day after New Year's Day night.
I returned.
Our debut album.
Yes. And if you featuring Taylor Swift, whatever best songs, you should listen to.
Sure. Featuring Taylor Swift. Yeah. We can't get Doechii, but we can get Taylor Swift.
And let me tell you, if you guys think for a second that I moved out like by the end of the month,
course not.
Even by the end of the year.
Get real.
You would be wrong, because guess what? I'm not rich, especially at that point in my life.
Sure.
25. I was like, I don't have the money to move to a new place.
Right.
My apartment's fine.
Yeah. And by the way, I'm in the epicenter of all class West Hollywood.
Yeah, and
I could never think of giving up this apartment.
And also, like, it's one of those things where I'm like, I love drama, like
you totally
in the center of it.
Yeah, you don't want to miss any of that.
So, they did eventually catch the arsonist.
Uh-huh.
They were a serial arsonist who that night, and I didn't find this out for months, they had set fire to 4 different apartment complexes, and it was like their thing. They would set fire at the stroke of midnight and then go like every couple blocks more east. It was like they started like 1 block and then 2 more blocks east, 2 more blocks east, 2 more, and we were the 4th block east, so 8 blocks later. And so that's the other ones completely burned down, but ours was like the fire trucks were already out, so that's why it only happened to our parking garage.
Wow.
Crazy.
That is so crazy.
Yeah. I wonder still if that person was a jilted lover or if they just loved.
Yeah. I would love to know what sort of passion they were experiencing, 4 times that night alone.
Yeah. And like, you are right in that there was a lot of suspicious activity from my roommate. So who knows?
Yeah, I wouldn't rule that out yet. I think she sort of knows a lot about how to get away with arson.
Okay, Viola Davis over here. New sequel.
Of course. Yeah. Yes.
Okay, should we take a break?
Definitely. Welcome back. And it is time for Diva Down. Diva Down, of course, is our segment, our final segment of the episode, where we give unsolicited advice to a person, place, or thing that really, really needs it right now, whether it asked for it or not.
And this really needs our advice and needed our advice when it happened.
It needs our attention. It needs your advice, quite frankly. So please feel free to
weigh in.
Yeah, let us know what you think.
What you would have done in a situation.
Sure.
And our Diva Down this week is
our sleepover. Yeah. Our adult sleepover.
We had a sleepover this past weekend where, Greg very sweetly invited Anthony and I over to his place.
Yeah.
It was like a whole thing.
Yeah, and I was really hoping to sort of just like host you guys and have you, experience. Just moved into a new place, I think, as you just mentioned.
Gorgeous new house.
Yeah, and was so excited to just have our friends over, host them, and then feel free to stay the night. You have your own bedroom. Enjoy.
It's a gorgeous guest bedroom. Gorgeous is my word of the day.
It's the Heather Locklear of guest bedrooms. I'll tell you that
stunning.
much. Yeah.
As is your place.
Thank you.
And it even has the fancy Toto toilet that greets you when you walk in.
Ensuite. Let's say. So we were really, looking forward to that. Of course, Tim had reservations ahead of time. He loves his sleep, as we've discussed on this very, very episode.
I love a fan. And if you think that I didn't bring a fan, I travel with fans.
Yeah.
I brought a fan because I knew that we were sleeping over in your guest bedroom.
And you need it blowing in your face as you sleep.
And so what ended up happening, we didn't go to bed until very late that night. We were having a great time. It was a party. It was like 4 a.m. by the time we're going to bed.
It was late.
It was late.
And we were spent and ready to sleep.
And I was ready to sleep. And I was also stressed because I knew that you and Bat had to go to yoga in the morning, so we weren't going to get a ton of sleep. And so I was like, when we go to bed, it needs to be like immediate.
Of course.
And so I was just like, I need to blare my fan so that it drowns out any possible noise, so that way if you guys get up earlier, because you will get up before the sunrise even though you're going to bed at 4,
and you won't hear it.
I won't hear it.
You won't hear a thing.
I blare my fan. I'm fine. I'm like normally it takes me a bit to fall asleep, but this one I'm like, I'm gonna fall asleep immediately because it's so late. At 15 minutes in, I'm right about to conk out. The smoke detector beeps, and it's
beep
beep. And I, by the way, it's one of those. So then I'm like, maybe, and it's loud, and I'm like, okay, well,
loud for you because I hear it on the other side of the house going, what is that?
Well, it was also one of those where it was just like twice and then nothing, and so then I was like, okay, I'm crazy. Like I made this up. Anthony, of course, passed out. And then another 15 minutes go by. Beep beep. And I'm like, okay, no. But I'm still like, I'm in denial. There's a river. And so I let it go. And then another 15 minutes, I'm like, this is ridiculous. I shake Anthony. I'm also incredibly annoyed that I'm like, how can you sleep through this? I was like, wake up. Like, if I'm up, you're up.
Right. And again, this is my house, but you have to be targeted about who you're mad at because Anthony's sleeping.
Yes. And in that moment, I was like, you are not allowed to be sleeping through this.
Trust me, we weren't sleeping on the other side. We were, wait, what is that? What is that?
So then I grab a chair. I'm like, standing on your desk to try to reach it because it's very high up. And then I don't know anything about smoke detectors, but I'm imagining that when you press the button, maybe that will do something.
Right.
So I press the button, not knowing that it's somehow connected to like all of your fire detectors, and it's just like a cacophony of like synchronized orchestra goes off,
going off throughout the house.
So then it's like
blaring in every room,
and it's 10 times louder.
Well, what happened? So you're inside the room where it happens.
Yeah.
Hamilton.
Yes.
You're Hamilton. You're Lin-Manuel Miranda.
I'm Aaron Burr.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, well, Lynn. You're Lynn. I mean, yeah. Between the two of us. So that being said, at that moment, well, it was so interesting because I had been hearing that and I was like, wait a second, what? And then of course I'm thinking, oh my God, Tim is so concerned about sleeping. Why would this be going off right now? Like it's going on somewhere. Is there something like, is there a fire? Like, because why else would this be going off? So I get up and I start like walking past and I'm like, where is that? And I think I hear it and I'm like, is that in their room? And as soon as that happened, it's a boo, woo, 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 woo from around the house. And then you go, sorry, from the other side of the wall. I'm like, what the fuck is happening?
And also, I'm like, that happens. And to backtrack a little bit, everyone eventually gets to this quicker than I do, which is, and it's going off. Anthony turns to me and he's just like, do you think it's your fan? And that's the last thing you should say to me in that moment. Because I was like, it's me and my fan. We do not separate.
Of course.
And so I was like,
we knew. And we got like the fan deposit and everything. We knew.
I was like, he was like, I think maybe you should, because I had it on like level 10. And he was like, what
of course. I could hear it across the house.
Exactly. He's like, what if you lower it? And then it won't be like kicking up dust or something. And maybe that's what's registering. And I was like, absolutely not over my dead body.
Yeah.
And then when I woke up the whole house, I was like, okay, fine. I will turn it down. You and Matt was also like, I think it could be the fans. And I was like, okay, fine. I'll take it from 10 to 1.
And of course, my dogs were absolutely going insane because the sound of it makes them terrified.
The fan?
No, the sound of the alarm.
Yes.
So, but then I was going, oh God, oh God, oh God, we're terrible hosts. Our house is a disaster. But yeah.
So then it was like at a low thing and I was like, I think it's finally stopped.
I think it's fine. Yeah, it was great. Silence.
And then 15 minutes go by and beep, beep, bitch. She's back.
Yeah.
It's a sequel.
So she came back with a vengeance.
And
Demi Moore full throttle.
It was, yes. It was. And at that moment, I turned to Anthony and I was like, I think I went back and I pressed it one more time, just wake everyone up. I was like delirious. And then I was like, Anthony, we gotta go.
We gotta go. So the sun was coming.
The sun was up at that point. We left at 6 a.m.
Yeah.
I also, this is my advice. Let's just cut straight to it. We've talked for so long.
Sure. Well, it was a major story.
My advice is actually just smoke detectors.
Oh,
Smoke detectors. We have these fancy thermostats.
Right.
Where it tells us, like, you can just do the little knob, and then it goes from 71 to 72. It's digital. And maybe these exist, but I'm not aware of them. Why aren't there digital smoke are there?
There are, but we don't have them.
Okay, well, I think that they're not standard, and I rarely ever see them. And I'm
Much
like,
more
why are
pricey.
you so hard to understand, smoke detectors?
Well, they're not user-friendly in any way, shape,
They're the
or form.
least user-friendly thing that exists. And it's like actually a matter of life and death.
Absolutely, because then it's like, is something horrible happening, but it's like a single fleck of dust.
Make
is actually
affordable digital smoke detectors that are actually understandable to read.
Thank you.
Especially if you're insisting on going off at 4 a.m, which is the only time they ever go off.
Exactly. The only time is as soon the only detection that those smoke detectors are doing are your eyes closing. The fact that you might be dozing.
It's as soon as you start to get rapid eye movement and you're going off into the other world.
Oh.
Beep, beep.
Yeah, no, it's the drift. Not even you don't even think about getting anywhere near rapid eye movement. They're not letting you. But a digital one, yeah, and that's why we're announcing here today on the podcast we are starting a line of digital fire what are those things?
Fire
Fire
detectors.
detectors. Yeah. And maybe
that are
carbon
affordable.
monoxide. Maybe it was carbon monoxide. I don't know what that thing does, nor do I need to.
Also, it will be very clear that it is a smoke detector and not a carbon monoxide detector, because also they look the same. How are you supposed to, maybe they'll be both.
Yeah, maybe we'll clearly label it so we know. So we know, like, am I gonna burn, or am I being gassed silently to death?
My biggest fear.
Totally. And I was a little concerned. I was like, oh, we've got a leak. We've got a leak. Or we've got smoke. And where there's smoke. See, so my advice, I would say, my advice I agree. Fully, I agree. My advice is to, a consumer, someone who has smoke detectors. You are legally supposed to have them. In most rooms, in most apartments and homes. I would say, make sure your batteries are always up to date, because you don't want to risk being woken up by beeps in the middle of the night. That being said, these ones were brand new, and the battery was brand new, so there would be no reason to check. I knew that you guys had
just moved in.
Yeah, so in that case, just be wary of dust. I would constantly be vacuuming.
That's another feature that our smoke detector would be able to tell the difference between dust and smoke.
And that should concern us as citizens.
It will come up on the digital screen. This is just dust.
Yeah.
And with that,
follow us. We're saying it again. Yes. Follow us on TikTok and Instagram at MissThingThePod.
Give us 5 stars. Subscribe also on Spotify and Apple Pods, wherever
you get them.
Put up a comment. That really helps get us seen.
Totally.
And we love to be seen.
We need to be seen.
Yeah, we need to.
We're obsessed with it.
Greg is desperate to be seen because therapists are ghosting him left and right.
Yeah, I need to prove my therapists wrong.
Yeah.
And that the only way to do that is by putting myself out there more on the internet and being seen more.
Yeah, and with that, we will see you next week. Cynthia, we love you as always.
Yeah, and we've got a big special episode coming up very soon, which we will be sharing in the coming weeks.
Yes.
So stay tuned for that.
Goodbye.
Bye. Miss Thing Podcast is created, executive produced, and hosted by Greg Trimmer and Tim Zientek.
It's produced and edited by Benji Simons, with cover art and additional creative support by Claude Zeins.
Follow us on TikTok and Instagram at MissThingThePod.
New episodes drop every Tuesday. Watch on YouTube or listen on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Please subscribe, rate, and review, but only raves. Strictly 5 stars and above.
Follow Greg at Greg Trimmer and Tim at Tim_Zientek on all social media.
Bonk.